month later,
let's have
that
one
I
more
found out I
joint,
was
then we'll
pregnant,
have a
I
smoke,
felt
then we'll
sick with
fuck, okay?
anxiety,
Sorry.
knowing I was
Okay,
still a teen,
baby.
and
Cool.
that the baby was also my cousin's. I didn't hide it from him, though, and I confronted him about the issue. I was a
Let's
mess
have
of
this
tears and
joint,
snot when I told him what
and
I found
smoke.
out, but he took it
Oh,
rather
fucking
well, considering everything.
in my
He
room,
assured me that he
baby.
was there to support me, and
Done.
didn't want the idea of
Cool.
abortion or adoption to be an option. He said he would be there, and I believed him. It took a lot of the stress off of me, and I hoped that we could somehow make this work. I had no idea what I was going to tell my parents. I couldn't just hide it from them forever. They were going to figure out something was up when I started getting bigger, or
Not
when
like
I
they
turned up with the
care.
baby. For the time, though, I decided to say nothing and hold off on that future conversation. As time went on, I noticed that my mother spent a lot more time with David than she used to. I figured she was trying to get on his good side, in case my parents got a divorce. They had both been trying to do that with me as well, so I didn't think anything of it. I just hoped she would actually treat him like a son, rather than a playable piece in their mind games. He seemed happier when he spent time with her, and I was hoping that he was starting to feel more comfortable in our home. I didn't suspect anything was up. One Friday, after I had walked all the way to dance class to practice for a recital, I came to the studio to find it had been canceled last minute. I was so annoyed because my ankles were starting to get kind of swollen, and I had to walk all the way there just to walk right back home. I was in a really bad mood as I headed back home, trying to get myself to calm down so I didn't snap at anyone. I entered the house, which was oddly quiet, and just went straight up to my room to cool off. When I opened my door, however, I began to scream. Right there, in my cousin's bed, was David and my mother. They weren't sitting together
I
having
would
a nice
join
little
in.
family chit-chat
Fuck
either.
yeah.
I felt
If I
lightheaded,
was you,
and
bitch.
like I was floating for a moment, I guess having gone into shock. Then everything becomes a bit of a blur after that. I had passed out on the floor of the room apparently, and they had to rush me to the hospital. I fell into a coma, and they weren't sure when I would wake up. It took a little over a month for me to wake up from my coma, and the first sight I was greeted with was my mother's face. That was the last thing I wanted to deal with right then, but I was too weak to argue with her or ask her to leave. She began bawling and begging me not to tell my father about what I had seen. I was still a bit confused about everything, having just come out of a month-long coma, but after I finally got my mind together, I decided to agree. It wasn't so much I was protecting my mother, but that I didn't want to tell my father and ultimately lose David if my dad became enraged. A few minutes after our agreement, my father walked into the room as well to see me. He looked delighted, grasping onto my hand and telling me he was glad I was okay. He then told me that they had a surprise they had been waiting to tell me. He said that I was going to have a new baby sibling, and that my mother was pregnant. I thought I was going to pass out all over again when I heard the news. I gave them an extremely fake smile, but they probably just thought I was still confused from my coma. I felt so much sadness in that one moment. It took a couple of days of observation before I was finally released from the hospital. Thankfully, they hadn't told my parents about my pregnancy due to the privacy laws they had. When I got home, I immediately noticed that David wasn't there. I asked them where he was, and my father told me that he just kind of disappeared after I fell into my coma. I wasn't really sure how to feel about that, but it definitely stung. I was starting to become noticeably bigger, but my parents hadn't caught on to anything yet. They probably thought I was putting on weight quickly after not eating much in the hospital for a month. My dad looked so much happier with my mother, doting over her and the new baby they were expecting. One day, while I was sitting in the living room, my father came home and gave me a gift. Maybe it was pregnancy hormones or guilt, but I broke down when he did. I came clean about everything, unable to keep it inside me anymore. I was honest about me and David, my pregnancy, what I saw before I went into my coma. It felt so good to get it off my chest, but I could see the expression of a purely crushed man on my father's face. It was literally no time before my parents were finalizing a divorce. My mother immediately kicked me out of the house, blaming me for her divorce. I tried to go to my dad, but he refused to help me. I felt completely abandoned and alone, destined to live on the street somewhere with a baby. I got a call on my phone, however. and was both mildly relieved and upset to see it was David. I answered the phone, and I could hear the relief in his voice as he spoke to me. He said he had tried to find out when I had come out of my coma, but was restricted from seeing me in the hospital by my mother. Apparently, my mother had threatened him into silence so no one would find out what had happened. I had no other choice but to let him help me, as the other option would be finding a shelter somewhere to sleep in. He had seemed extremely genuine when he picked me up, though, and I slowly began to trust him again. I haven't talked to either of my parents since, and I live with David now. I'm happy to say that I gave birth to a healthy little girl who we decided.
Touch this now.
US dollars. Gold.
Hi, my name is Amy, and I'd like to tell you how my life completely changed when I was still in middle school. You see, back when I was in 8th grade, I was very popular. All the kids wanted to be my friends, and I never had to worry about bullying. It was so nice to have everyone in school know my name. It was a great experience, and I know that I had it easier than most kids my age. I was very pretty, and all the guys in my class wanted to date me. They constantly hit on me and brought me nice gifts. It was nice and flattering, I have to admit. That being said, I didn't feel ready to date any of them back then. I was just happy to get their attention and perhaps sometimes flirt back. That was it though, at least until I met Alex. It was the end of school party, and we had all decided to have a big dance. It was a semi-formal event, so my mom and dad bought me the prettiest dress I had ever worn. It was red and beautiful, and I think it made me look older than I was. I loved the way it fit, and still remember the moment my mom took me shopping for it. I was so happy and swirled around to show it off. The dance was organized at the school's auditorium, and I was amazed at how lovely everything looked. There were small lights everywhere, and crepe paper garlands hanging from the walls. And right there, standing in the middle of the dance floor, the cutest guy I had ever seen in my life, Alex.
More in double.
He was staring at me intensely, but didn't come close to me at first.
Alpha.
He seemed a bit shy,
Yep.
but had the most gorgeous grin. Finally, after about half an hour of staring
You're
at each
my
other from
bitch.
different sides of the
I
room,
know.
he approached me.
So
We
we're
began to
doing,
chat,
I mean, we're
and
having
soon he
smoke
asked
now.
me to dance.
Then we'll
Alex
fuck,
was so
baby.
funny and sweet,
Dumb.
and we danced all night together. I don't think any other guy had any chance with me after I met him. I instantly fell for him. It was love at first sight. I know it may sound a bit silly, but to me, it felt that way. My stomach was all knotted up, my heart was beating so fast, and I couldn't stop smiling. For the first time in my young life, I was actually considering dating someone. I didn't know how my parents would take it, but I knew it was time. We started flirting really hard after a while, and I had my first kiss with him that very night. It didn't take long before we got a bit handsy with each other. It was also
If I was that
new,
guy,
and I
I'll
wasn't
pull out
used
my
to
dick
feeling
and
that
say,
way.
here, fuck it
I'll
and suck
admit
it.
that I didn't handle things too well. I got blinded by how nice it felt to kiss him, and one thing led to another. Soon we were both sneaking out of the auditorium and upstairs to one of the empty classrooms. All alone, we got to kiss a lot more, and you can imagine how things got out of hand pretty soon. I was too young to fully understand everything that was happening, but I wasn't silly either. I knew I shouldn't have stayed there alone with Alex, but he was so perfect for me. I felt like I was already in love, and that he was the guy I had been dreaming about. That night, he walked me home, and we kissed goodnight at my porch. I felt like I was floating on air. I swear I couldn't stop smiling. The next morning, I told my mom that I had kissed a guy for the very first time and that I really liked him. Of course, I didn't tell her everything that had happened or that I had experienced other firsts that night as well. She would have freaked out, and I didn't want her to be mad at me. I really did like Alex, and she'd never allow us to date if she knew what had happened between us. She told me she wanted to meet this boy I liked so much before giving me permission to date him. Of course, I agreed, but I didn't know if he'd want to do that. I texted him that night, and much to my surprise, he said yes. Alex told me he really liked me as well, and that he'd be more than happy to come over for dinner. Alex was such a gentleman in front of my parents. He completely won them over, and they gave us their blessing to begin dating. Of course, Dad put some ground rules, like I had to come back home before 10 p.m. and that we couldn't be alone in my room with the door closed. I kind of giggled at that, since my mom and dad didn't have any idea of everything we had already done. But it was fine, we didn't need to rush into doing that again. We were still very young, after all. The problem was, a few months later, I began feeling really odd. I would get sick in the morning and my belly was starting to swell up a bit. I didn't understand what was going on and thought I was just under the weather or had eaten something that didn't agree with me. The problem was that it kept getting worse and it didn't go away. I mean, my belly was getting bigger and I knew that something was wrong. Like I said before, I didn't know much about dating and all that stuff, but I wasn't completely sheltered either, so I soon realized that I might be pregnant. I freaked out completely. My best friend came to my rescue. I had texted her about my suspicions, and she arrived at my place with a pregnancy test. Those were the 2 longest minutes of my life. We were both in the bathroom after I peed on the stick and couldn't stop staring at the test. Finally, the results were displayed, and it turned out I really was pregnant. I began sobbing, and my best friend hugged me really tightly. She asked me what I wanted to do about it. I was a bit confused about that whole mess, but in the end, I made up my mind. I had to be responsible and do the right thing. I was going to have that baby and be the best mom I could, even if I was really young myself. Of course, I was really shocked that this was happening and so disappointed that I could have been so foolish. I wanted to make up for the big mess I had gotten myself in, so that night I sat down with my parents and told them everything. They were so mad at first. Of course, I saw it coming, but it still hurt to see them so upset with me. I was their only daughter, and they had high hopes for my future. They felt I was throwing it all away. I promised that I would keep studying and would take responsibility for my mistakes. They were glad to hear me say that, but still not too happy about the whole situation. They told me I needed to talk to Alex right away. I got so flustered by that, but knew it was the only way to go. My parents called us folks and we all got together to speak about it. I was so surprised that Alex completely manned up. He never once tried to weasel his way out of it, and his parents told me I had their full support as well. Of course, both our moms and dads were angry at us, but we were still their children and they were not going to just kick us out or something like that. I thought kids at my school would mock me about it or be mean to me. Much to my surprise, when I came back from summer vacation, everyone was so nice to me. They had heard of my decision to keep the baby, and they were all so proud of me. All the girls gushed at how pretty my kid would be, and I was so relieved about it. Everyone in my life was super supportive, and I never imagined that it would be that way. That's not to say that life was easy from that point on. I had to study and take care of a baby after I gave birth to my child. He ended up being a boy, and we named him Liam. Of course, my mom and dad, as well as Liam's other grandparents, helped often, but they made it very clear that it was my and Alex's responsibility. We had to work extra hard, studying with our baby in our arms, and staying up late when Liam got fussy. Also, when he was sick, we had to miss school, and then study even harder to make up for the lost time. We ended up graduating high school along with all of our other friends, and we both got accepted into prestigious colleges. That meant we had to hire a nanny to help us while we were at class, since we moved away from home. Alex worked part-time to support us, and our parents helped us with other expenses. I managed to get a scholarship, so that gave us some extra money as well. I became a nurse, then Alex graduated top of his class at law school. He got recruited by one of the best law firms in the city, and he soon began climbing the corporate ladder. He was really talented and driven, so it didn't take long for him to become a top-notch professional. Eventually, Alex decided he wanted to be his own boss. I supported him completely, of course. He opened his own practice, and his talents brought him plenty of clients. Now he has over 20 lawyers working for him full-time, and he's doing very well for himself. I'm so proud of my husband. We lived comfortably and paid our parents back for everything they gave us. We are also able to offer Liam a good life. We are a big, happy family now. Even if we messed up back in middle school, we made up for it and managed to make something of ourselves. With hard work and determination, everything is possible. I was really lucky that Alex was such an honorable guy and that he didn't bail out on me. What I thought was love at first sight ended up being real and long-lasting. I still can't believe I got so lucky. Liam is a really good student, and he is very responsible too. I'd prefer that he didn't date anyone, at least till he was in high school, and perhaps even better if he waited a bit longer. I don't want him to face the same rough times his father and I did. Thinking back on everything that happened when I was younger, I know I made some big mistakes. I should have waited and taken things slow with Alex. It would have been far easier to finish high school and to study during college, but then I wouldn't have my beautiful Liam. He's growing so big, and he's making both.
Ready?
Yep, I'm fucking ready.
Let's fucking do this, bitch, mum.
I know.
Bed on the fuck out. In my room or on the couch.
On the couch.
Cool. Lounge room. Nope. Is it this way, the lounge room? Nope. Bathroom. This way. Kitchen table. The second dinner table. Where the fuck is the... Here we are, yo. Cool. Let's do this, baby mummy.
Done, son. Fuck me hard. And teach me who's in charge.
Sure, baby. Oh, hi there. It's the next day, and look at this. I bought me a mansion outside of the town. Look at this. It's a beautiful view, isn't it? I'm living a good life, cunt. Look at this shit. Beach house here. Let me show you around, then smoke some weed for the day. Up here is a chill area where you can chill. Another chill area, you know the usual. Swimming pool. Then the TV there, chill area out here too. TV there, dinner table, kitchen, another chill area, and then another chill area, another dinner table, the lounge room, office. I don't use it much because I don't have a business. I'm just 17 years old, turning 18 this year coming up. Over here, my bedroom, balcony out here, good view, the mountains and the lake, good view of the lake and the mountains. Let me show you more around the crib. Then over here, a spare bedroom. Over here, balcony out here, dude, area. Then no, this is my room. Yeah, this is my room. That's the two spare bedrooms there, and my balcony is here. Look at this shit. It's a crib. It's a fucking mansion. Look at this. I'm living the good life. Hell yeah, buddy. I'm living the good life. Yeah, buddy. I can do what the fuck I wanna do. Matter of fact, let's have a party. Let's text everyone I'm having a fucking party. Connect. Yeah, buddy. Having a fucking sweet party. Press play. Yeah, buddy. Came here with someone. So while you're here in my arms, let's make the most of the night like we're gonna die young. We're gonna die young. Yeah, buddy, party. We're gonna die young. Party, 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 dog. Party all day, every day. Everybody. Party all day. Awesome party! Thanks. Yeah, awesome. Thanks. Go have a look around if you want. Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay, good. See ya. All views. Yeah, that's it till we die. No, it's not. It's gonna die young. Die young. Die young. Not fucking gonna die young. Yeah, brother. Party, 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 all day, every day. Drums. If you came here with shotgun, here my arms. Most of the work, came back to here with not because we're gonna die young. Next. 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 Let's have a joint for the day. Next. Yeah, buddy. Next.
You don't live in one corner. Fragrance shouldn't either. Airwick plugins release fragrance upwards and outwards to fill every corner. And you can dial the scent up or down to suit your room. Airwick plugins.
Fuck off. Next. Next. Yeah, but the Lonely Island.
Finest girl I ever met in my whole life. Wanna take her home, make her my wife. Knew she was a freak when she started talking. She said, fuck me like we fucked Bin Laden. Ooh, oh, that girl was a freak. She said she wanted me to fuck her harder in the military. Fuck Bin Laden. Fuck Bin Laden. Fuck Bin Laden. She wanted to fuck me harder than the US government. Fuck Bin Laden. She was a freaky kind of girl, kept up with current events from all around the world. More specifically, one event. The time Osama Bin Laden got shot in the head. She said, do me like that, but I couldn't track the metaphor. That said, I can see you horny like a stegosaur. That said, again, your request is so irregular. She put on a beard, I started looking at the exit door. Then a turban, then a tunic. She said, invade my cave with your special unit. I said he wasn't in a cave, but there was no stopping. She demanded that I fuck her like we fuck Bin Laden. Fuck Bin Laden. Fuck Bin Laden. She wanted to fuck me harder than the US government. Fuck Bin Laden. This girl requested intercoastal ring and a climax with the clinical efficiency of the assassination of Bin Laden. You're harboring a fugitive. That ass, and my justice will be punitive. I'm a smash. Night vision, they can see us through my GoPro. She tried to negotiate. I said that's a no-no. Now I'm creeping in her bedroom like she tells me to go boom. Then looks down and says I gotta terrorize that pussy. Gotta terrorize that pussy. So I did it. Improvise some crazy shit. SEAL Team 69, executing the hit. She said you finished me off, now throw my body in the ocean. I yelled Geronimo, then took some pictures for posting. The president called, he said congratulations, Connor. I said Mr. President, to what do I owe this honor? He said come give me the deets in the White House garden. I got to know how you fucked her like we fuck Bin Laden. Fuck Bin Laden. Fuck Bin Laden. I still can't say that I see the appeal, but she wanted me to fuck her like we fuck Bin Laden. Oh, this girl insisted that what we did was merciless and exact, just like the now world famous attack.
Next.
Why just make do when you can make awesome? Get your credit score at society1.com.au.
You never like.
Next. Next.
Shit, y'all, that who that, you
Yeah,
think I was
buddy.
missing you. Can I get enough of kissing you? I don't cry, okay, I shed a tear or two on the cry, but girl, ain't no forgetting you, cause
Every minute, every second, every hour of the day. Every hour of the day. Every time that I'm away.
Missing you, missing you.
Every moment that is stolen, it can never be replaced. Even if it's for a day. I'ma text you up to say, missing you. Don't baby, whenever I'm gone, I wish you right back. I can feel your heart when we're apart. Girl, I'm on my way, trust every word I say. I can't wait to see your face. And when I say goodbye, I saw the tears in your eyes as you start to cry. I take your hand and
Promise I'll be right back. Gang gang. If I can press play. The fuck is happening.
Right back, girl, I'm coming right back to see you smile. So, girl, what I gotta do to make you see I mean what I say to you. Send you a picture, let you know I miss ya. Girl, send me a kiss, I can't wait to see ya every minute.
Shit, what the fuck? Press play, you dickhead.
Every second, every hour of the day, yeah, 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 yeah. Every hour of the day, yeah, 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 yeah. Every time that I'm away, yeah, yeah, missing you, missing you. Coming, that is coming, it can never be replaced, yeah, 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 yeah. Even if it's for a day, yeah, 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 yeah. I'ma text you up to say, yeah, 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 missing you, missing you. When we first met, I had to tell you that I couldn't live without your love. Baby, I must confess, we were the perfect match. You were a gift sent from above. Thinking about me, that's 1, 2, 3. That means I love you, girl. I'll be your everything and all you need. Oh, baby, let your heart take the lead. So, all I gotta do to make you see I mean what I say to you. Send you a picture, let you know I miss you.
Yeah, get you a kiss. We see ya. Second.
Missing
You, missing you.
Mama ain't nobody else. I need you, girl. I got intentions just to please you, girl. And I try, lady, that's what you deserve. Super fly, people precious than a pearl. I can't lie, pictures in my living room. When I ride, dashboard, digital to the sky, so thankful that you in my world. Do or die, baby, I ain't kidding you. I don't wanna be your distant man. Telling me I don't do enough, I'm playing. I'm really gonna let it hit the fan. Girl, every minute wanna hold your hand. Ain't no limit to the words I'm saying. I don't wanna rock with a brand new band. Yes, you the mama that's grand. I've been all over the land.
Every minute, every second, every hour of the day, every hour of the day,
Next.
I've come to know peak performance. That's why I use Sportsbet Same Game Multi. More markets, more offers, and bigger odds. Make it a multi with Sportsbet.
Next. We're about Tessa.
When the dark of the night comes around, that's the time that the animal comes alive, looking for something wild. They know we look like pimps in my gold Trans Am. Got a water bottle full of whiskey in my handbag. Got my drunk text on, I'll regret it in the morning. But tonight I don't give a there's a place downtown where the freaks will come around. It's a hole in the wall. It's a dirty free for all. Turn me on. Take it off. Take it off. Everybody take it off. There's a place I know if you're looking for a show where they go hardcore and there's glitter on the floor. Turn me on. Take it off. Take it off. Everybody take it off. Lose your mind, lose it now. Lose
Next. Next.
Open your mind and mouth to
Yeah,
refreshment.
Gang, shit. Next. Yeah, boy, with a dick again. Too high.
What's up, y'all? LD, aka Young Dick. Had to make a track about smoking weed, man. Every rapper got a track about smoking weed, so I ain't really have a choice. But I guess I made mine a little bit different, is all. It's like blowing something sticky. Word to pre-cum dicks. I'm with my team in this bitch and we all getting lit. I mean the weed hella loud like a teenage chick. And we been smoking for a minute, yeah, we blowing on the ganja. Now I'm huffing and puffing, I'm choking on the bong. And the dope I'm on is bomb, I'm smoking that Vietcong. Getting real high, watching funny videos of Bill Nye. Tell me that this jam isn't still fly.
Yo, check this out.
Hell no.
Oh my god. I forgot all about this shit. This shit is fucking crazy.
Science.
Holy shit. Wow. I'm like uncomfortably high.
Now I'm getting hungry, then the motherfucker put some chicken nuggets in the oven. Then for 100 where I put that honey mustard, looking all around the cupboard for that motherfucker. Until I discovered the custard I covered with butter from last week. How long do them things keep? Guess I better ask Jeeves. Go get my computer, but I'm staring at the damn screen. Damn, D, you forgetting what your gas be. The puff, pass, got your gas, now your man is far.
And I was trying to get a little buzz, so I took a little puff, but I think I'm way too high. And I ain't want to come off like a bitch, so I took another hit, but I think my brain's too fried. Yeah, I'm fucking faded, but I hate it. I'm praying that I make it. Afraid I'm going to die. I'm too blazed, it's too late. The same thing
Party.
Now I'm freaking out up in this bitch. Can't control it, and my homies pass around another spliff. So I bolted to the BR, consulted with the mirror. The Dickie, please step up, you pathetic. Cause the weed and you beating you, then all of a sudden I'm on the toilet beating my penis blue. But I ain't coming because as I'm imagining fucking something. That pretty girl I'm humping, becoming my fucking cousin, a mother or brother or some motherfucking disgusting person. My brain is being strange cause I'm high as a plane. I ain't deranged, I'm just saying this a violent strain. So I go back to the back where they packing up cigars, dipping snacks, kicking back, staring at some avatars. Then the flip took a decade and a half to make that shit. Yet they couldn't put a second and a half up in that script. How the fuck a human being wanna fuck a bluish green 7-3 tail having ass thing? Man, I'm high as fuck.
And I was trying to get a little buzz, so I took a little puff, but I think I'm way too high. And I ain't want to come off like a bitch, so I took another hit, but I think my brain's too high. Yeah, I'm fucking faded, but I hate it. I'm praying that I make it. Afraid I'm going to die. I'm too blazed, too late. The same thing from this fucking place, cause you too high.
Ride hard cock cause I'm watching Katy Perry, and in her video the whole world's made of candy. Damn, I ain't even got no candy, so now I'm at the fucking seashore where your man be torn in the